I want to call to order the December 16th, 2025 Hancock County Commissioners Special Meeting. Is there any adjustments to the agenda?
Yep, I move to accept the agenda as presented with the following additions. 13B, request to approve the Hancock County sub-recipient monitoring policy. 13C, request to approve Commissioner Santabella as Hancock County's appointed representative to the Risk Pools Board of Directors for 2026. 13D, request to approve County Administrator Michael Crooker to serve as Hancock County's proxy representative in 2026. And 13E, request to appoint County Administrator Michael Crooker as Hancock County's point of contact with the risk pool in 2026.
You want to add a name to jail to the agenda?
Okay.
That's something we can do. It's done. Together.
I'll second that.
In discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comment. Is there anybody out there this morning wishes to make a public comment? Anybody online? Zoom? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Approval of the minutes.
I want to move to approve the minutes of the December 2nd, 2025 Commissioners' regular meeting as presented.
I'll second that.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. UT, good morning, Lord.
Morning, Commissioners.
Do you have anything to add to the report?
No,
I'm going to move to accept and file the UT monthly report as presented.
I'll second that.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Your stray animal contract.
yes. I have not heard from the SPCA. The Ark Animal Shelter was very interested and sent us an agreement. There's no cost with the Ark. The issue with the Ark is there's no after-hours service. It's in Deerfield, it's a little out of the way.
Unless you're coming down 193 from.
Unless you're coming down 193.
Yeah.
Or in Franklin, anyway, or Township 7. Yeah. So, and it's a small facility. I think the animal control officer needs to understand cats aren't going to be a problem. But if they've got a stray dog, they should call ahead and make sure they've got room.
And have you tried to reach back out to, are you going to try to reach back out to the SPCA?
I will try the SPCA, but what I wanted to do was talk to the commissioners about reaching out to the Bangor shelter. Because if you're coming in off the Stud Mill Road or Route 9, it's just as quick to go to the Bangor shelter.
Do we have a problem if we have multiple places?
We don't with the Act. They're perfectly happy if we had multiple places.
So nothing says we can't approve the act today and possibly the SPCA and even Bangor either.
Right.
All right, I'm going to move to approve the 2026 stray holding contract memorandum of understanding between the unorganized territories of Hancock County and the Ark Hope Memorial Animal Shelter, and authorize the chair to sign on behalf of the Hancock County.
I'll second that.
No, the issue I have is, and I think it's very gracious of them to have a zero sum and whatnot, but I don't quite understand that. Isn't that organization that's always pleading for money, always doing fundraising for them and whatnot? Gentlemen, I wonder if we shouldn't consider offering them the same amount as we gave Houseless. Well, how much was that? How much we were paying? Remember?
I've got it right here.
Well, before you even look, would you consider gentlemen making an offer to them?
I had a draft written up similar to, I gave them the contract that we had with the small animal shelter. So they knew what that was. And I had written up a similar one. And they choose to use this one.
And we know that that zero figure isn't just a default in there.
No, it's not.
No, what I mean is that, did they simply forget to put a sum in there? I mean, they intended it to be zero, huh?
Yes,
Well, I guess we shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth.
we were paying a fee of $65 per dog or $50 per cat.
Can't believe they keep up that revenue.
How many dogs are typical?
I don't know. The UT wasn't paying much.
And this is only UT, right?
This is only for,
You know what the other municipalities are going to do?
Franklin has already been using the Act right along. I don't know what the other municipalities going to do.
Yeah, I haven't heard either way. I mean, they're all in the same boat, I'm trying to figure it out, so. But there are a few, like Franklin, have it already anyway, so it's not gonna impact them one way or the other.
So the other two, I guess, Miller, and I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything else, Miller?
Is that the
signature page.
Yep. I printed one, so I was gonna have them sign all at the end,
Is this,
because I'll have to have a copy of it.
is the one we have in our book the same language as the one that we just gave me?
The only difference is that I was able to, make it all on one page, and then I printed one for the commissioner, the chair side, and then one for all three the sign, so I wasn't sure what you were
Oh,
going to
I
choose.
like the signature page on this because it says commissioners. This one says town representative. Gentlemen, let's go with the three because the motion didn't stipulate chair to sign. But you have the original,
These are the two, one, two.
we'll go with three.
Just to note the other change too, the date, we had to change the
Oh.
date, because it's
Yeah.
2024
I can
contract.
change that, so I go the original one. It said 2024,
Okay,
so I did change that. That was the only other change. I'll make a copy and give it to you now.
okay, so moving along. Airport,
Good morning.
morning.
First one we got is the budget. Did you guys get a chance to review it? Any questions? Comments? We added a few things to get those hangar lots up and ready, so it was about 125,000 to get those moving along with some permitting and some electricity. At the end, we still have a undesignated funds of just over 2 million.
Looking at this quick, I gotta take it, it's not just a coincidence that the expenditure increase and the revenue increase is identical. Is there a factor in there that makes those identical?
Yeah, it's the transfer.
I mean, it's coincidence that the revenue and expenditure percentage increase comes out the same, but it's not coincidence that the dollar amount. We made it so it's an in and an out, so that's just,
How do you do that? Have a
he uses the
administrative fee
The transfer.
transfer.
or transfer fee?
In the revenues, the transfer in and out, we adjust that as needed for.
And the plan is to pull that money out of one of those COVID grants that we had a few years ago, which still leaves just over $500,000 in that grant alone, even after we pull the balance transfer out.
And you're not required to commit that before.
That was committed money as operating expenses reimbursements. So we had already expended the money and they reimbursed us for all those bills. Little different than your COVID money was.
Big difference.
Yeah, a big difference. Yeah.
Anything further on the budget, gentlemen?
No, I'm gonna move to approve the Hancock County Bar Harbor Airport's 2026 operating budget in the amount of $1,277,289.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 The second item is the request the approval of parcel 2 O'Sullivan Administrative Settlement. That was a 10% overage. O'Sullivan agreed to that as an increase to his. That's all that is. We're getting there on these. They're just coming slowly.
I'm gonna move to approve the approval of parcel number 2 O'Sullivan Administrative Settlement in the amount of $2,600 for a total offer of $28,600.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 The next one is just that just compensation letter to send out to them that's what what the offer is.
I'm gonna move to approve, I'm gonna move the approval of parcel number 2, Clifford O'Sullivan LLC, just compensation approval letter, version 1, dated December 16th, 2025, in the amount of $28,600, and to authorize the chair to sign on behalf of Hancock County.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And the last one's actually a little exciting. This is a company that's going to come in, build a 70 by 90 hangar, and use it as also as a commercial type venture where they can rent storage, aircraft storage in it. So gives us a little bit more hangaring and some land leased. And I'm pretty happy with this actually.
When do you think,
Move us in the right direction.
when will it all happen in terms of construction?
They're hoping to start in the spring.
All right, I'm going to approve the commercial land lease between Hancock County, County of Hancock, and Hematech Assets LLC, PO Box 1097, Northeast Harbor, Maine 04662.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything else, Lori?
That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Morning, Chef.
Good morning, Commissioners.
We have a promotion this morning.
We do.
I'll set with that, then we'll take care of it.
I move to approve the promotion of Liberty White from part-time to full-time corrections officer with the effective date of December 27th, 2025, with full benefits at the pay rate of $23.71, pay grade 9A, based on the jail wage scale.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'll take
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Commissioners.
Morning, Dennis.
Morning.
Morning, Charles. Good morning, Kevin.
I think y'all have seen the GMP contract and recommended provisions. I'm recommending that we enter into this agreement with E.L. Shea and get this job completed.
Gentlemen, just a small item, but we now have that officially approved as a street, now Civic Street. And the EOC building has a designated village. Remember what it was?
5.
5. You know that.
Yep.
Yep, very good, thank you.
On what?
5 Civic Street.
So they numbered each building. That's a good thing.
Oh, okay.
So, gentlemen, Charles, this figure of 3.3 million is the contract's fee, correct?
It's E.L. Shea's contract guarantee maximum, including Nolan negates the initial getting started contract for civil works. That's included.
That's included, yeah, okay.
And we've been through it with Dennis, and Kevin and I worked a lot. There's a list of potential saving items if we want to do that, but we'll do it during construction. And there's a list of ads that will either be purchased with money that doesn't get saved, or money that you have your contingency, or through separate funding sources because of things like generators and things that don't meet balance. So there's a budget available, and there's a list that is an active list that will continue to work together with Dennis and propose to you and the users potential changes that we can still make. And Kevin now can set up a timeline for when those decisions need to be made.
What's the process for making those things?
The windfall or such would be discovered by Kevin. He would let us know what available funds are being made available by this.
What if they're discretionary? Which is a decision to be made by us?
Well, many of them are, for instance, going from the raised seam roof to the asphalt shingle roof. Lowers the cost by quite a bit, and so we elected to do that. And if we save enough money, we might be able to add that back in, is what,
But the 3.3 doesn't include the originals.
those things that we cut out, no.
Those things have been
There's
taken
those
out,
ones. So
and now there's a.
There's no way to save that money in this 3.3.
No, but there are other ways.
There's other ways.
Again, what's the process of deciding which one of these would we cut or keep?
On a case-by-case basis, as we encounter them, we
With
will.
the committee, with you?
I think that the building committee
Building committee?
could be empowered to make these decisions.
I think it's more practical than coming to us every 2 weeks to,
Agreed?
Be treated like the change order process, where you're an add or a deduction.
So of the 3.3, of the 3.7 available, the 400,000 balance will cover the rest of the cost of this facility?
The rest of the cost, meaning
Whatever else is in there, there must be your fee.
anything.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
anything that is related directly to the building, anything that's movable has to come from your separate budget.
Correct.
But anything that's attached to the building that we can procure within the rules of BABA, you can't buy, for example, a UPS system that complies with BABA. So it's wiser to purchase that separately.
The question was, though, the day we cut the ribbon on the front door, we're gonna have a bill total of 3.7, correct?
That's
Yes.
the target.
Yeah.
And we do have 162 or 105 in contingency for construction contingency in the budget. So
I mean,
there's,
what Bill's asking is, we have 3.3 million, the total is 3.7. The other 400,000 is under contract with Charles that provides Tom Fowler and
Right.
and other services.
Yourself.
Bring that up to date, because I don't want to come back to these commissioners,
Yeah.
8 months later and say, oh, we
do
ordered
they have a copy of the
700,000.
budget?
Yes.
Do you have a copy that looks like this in your package?
Yep.
That's the total project budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that includes all of that.
And if you look at that, you'll
It's just-
see that we're 50-some thousand over the 3.7, but we have 123,000 in potential savings identified.
Right.
And we have 165 in contingency inside there. So we feel comfortable with that number that we stay within 3.7. We just have to go through the process. This list of potential savings also gives Kevin the ability to say, I need to know this by then. I need to know this by then if we're going to take that savings or if we're going to make that add. And things like the generator and the UPS system, all the rough end is included in the 3.309. It's just the piece of equipment that's not.
Is there advantage to either them or us that we wait until Kevin says, I can know this now?
Yeah, that's kind of how it's going to work, yes. As an opportunity presents itself, he'll make us aware and we'll know whether it's a savings or an added expense, and we can decide whether it's.
Do you anticipate savings that listed here, Kevin?
There are some that are going to be compounded, but I think this is, for the most part, what we expect to see, yeah, potential savings.
So if you know that there's something you want and you have the dollars somewhere for that, the sooner we know, the easier it is to manage. The other factor is just the way the construction industry is set up is generally prices increase in January. January, February, kind of across the board, all the trades, the suppliers raise their prices. That's kind of the construction off season. So we run a risk that if I sign up someone for next June to do something, or even March, it costs more than what I have a price for today. So there's that risk that there's going to be some escalation. So if you have the dollars, you know you want it, taking it sooner is probably better. There's also all these deducts. The same thing applies to the deducts, is that if you took the deduct today, that's a guaranteed price. If you're taking the deducts in March, it may be a different price.
So in other words, we, as soon as this contract is being executed, we should meet pretty quickly. In some of these deductions, we can make a decision pretty soon on it. Others, it's best to wait and see, but we could make that decision on a case-by-case basis as a
You
list.
call the meetings.
Yeah.
Generally,
So when there is a change order of some sort, how's the whole commission going to be aware of the changes?
well, who signs the change orders, Charles?
And we all do. It gets proposed first as a change event or a change proposal, gets reviewed. Once it's approved, then it becomes a change order. And we would sign it, Shay would sign it, and the representative from the
So
commission.
a representative, so.
Yes, if you appointed, say, Dennis to be.
John's question was kind of, are we going to get an opportunity to review changes, including sign? I think the answer is no. But Dennis,
Possibly no, but probably information will come in that we meet every 2 weeks or so. Information will come through on a pretty regular basis.
I just want to make sure that in the end that we're kept, that olives are kept up to date with like what changes have been made, not so much that I'm worried you're going to do something that maybe like, well, I would never have supported that. I just want to know what's happening.
For sure.
And of course, it'll all be logged, step by step.
So the worst case scenario is that we end up 51,000 over the 3.7.
That's if we expend all of our contingencies.
Okay.
Yeah,
And take none of these.
you could zero that out already and then just have a lower construction contingency amount. I reduced the construction contingency to the standard of 5%, which gave us that 165,000, whatever it is. And if we're 50 over, you could say, okay, let's only carry 100 as a contingency, and then right today you would say 3.7. But we know that we have 123,000 in options to save that have nothing to do with the contingency. The contingency is really there for during construction things,
The moving
for
targets.
things that have to do with owner requests or changes in the code or unforeseen conditions. And we're pretty much already past the unforeseen conditions part. That's in the earth in this project. And then errors and emissions or construction coordination where we have to modify something. So we feel pretty good that we have the safety valves in place to get this and keep it in 3.7. And it's just a question that making decisions on some of the items that are in the potential changes, that's something that the sum of parts adds up. Some of them are smaller positions, whether you use fiberglass insulation for sound attenuation instead of mineral wool. It's really getting into the nitty gritty now because we've had the advantage of working with a construction manager the entire time. So we really know the building, Shay knows the building. They're not going to go over this 3.3 million unless you came along and said, I want to build a garage or something. They're going to try and do their best to beat that number. We've got a system in place to do that.
I'm gonna keep the 51 in the spend contract with 165 rather than cut the 165. Because if we can't spend all the contingency, we're gonna have to find the 51 anyways.
Right.
So let's leave it in.
So it's just.
Yes.
In hopes we don't spend 165.
All right, I'm gonna move to approve the EOC guaranteed maximum price and contract amendment and authorize the chair to sign on behalf of Hancock County.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you want to get back with you? Do you have the original?
Yes.
I'll sign it now, but can we copy? You want to take a copy? back?
What I thought is, sign two. I can take one and you can keep an original.
Let's do it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I've spent 3.7 minutes, that's my life.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin, for looking forward to a very successful, profitable
Me too.
project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. That's it. Oh, Dennis is gone.
Yes.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Morning, Bob.
Good morning.
And transfer.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna move to approve the upward transfer of Stacy Johnson from Ellsworth from part-time corrections officer to full-time dispatch with the effective date of December 27th, 2025, with full benefits and a pay rate of $28.19, pay scale 9A, based on dispatch and pay scale.
I'll second that.
This whole transfer from one department to another, it gets a little sticky there in places. You reviewed all the sections, the policies that apply to this.
Yes, so for the upward transfer, we just need to make sure that she's compensated at least 5% more than what her previous wage was, which in this case, she's over 10%. So this is a huge benefit to that employee.
What defines upward when you're talking from one department to another?
It's simply salary numbers. You're going up in salary versus lateral was just the same pay grade from one department to the other. Or within the same department.
Can't go any lower, right? 9A.
Right, that's our lowest pay rate, so.
Okay, any further discussion? Have you made a motion?
Yeah.
You did, okay, good. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. IT. Gentlemen, I gotta tell you, this is old school, I just have a problem. Not a problem, I just, quite uneasy when we have given authority to departments to develop countywide policies for which we're not really involved in. You wouldn't remember saying, but we had our HR one time, not this HR director, another one, develop a policy on retirees returning to work. And we allowed the HR director to write that. We didn't scrutinize it. It turns out, I I'm just gonna make the language poorly done, and we ended up doing away with the entire policy. Here we are, we've got several of these policies now that Daniel has got to approve, it's gonna have a county-wide effect. And that's for me, most of this is over anyways, so, Michael, how much involvement have you had in the development and review of these?
So, Manny has sent these around to the various members, I don't know, if it's all the department heads.
Pretty much every department head, part of the Hancock County Cybersecurity Committee.
And I guess you were given opportunities for comments, but we haven't met as a group probably for months.
Yes,
So-
that is
so
correct.
collectively, we never sat down and met as a group to say yay, nay, or anything else. It was just individually, if I understand.
What you're looking at now are the same policies that already have been approved. There's
So
none
this
of
is
them
just a
that-
reapproval of all of them?
That is correct. The changes happen to the incident response and the information security policies because those have to be updated annually. All the others, other than maybe a word change or something along that line, were just added signature blocks and the update of putting in the changes to the document itself. So these have already been approved, already been submitted to the committee, already been for their review. Only addition was the signature block.
A lot of these are technical, kind of technical be the right word, but policies too, like that you're getting from like an industry or, however you want to think of
Yes,
it.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
what's
We're
the
reading
standard.
the standards, mainly for the CGIS and NIST, which are the industry standards that we're trying to meet. We're trying to stay ahead of where the bad guys are. And unfortunately, they're growing much faster than we are.
So this isn't really a case of Banyan working on his creative writing. It's-
Well,
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying because it's like a technical thing. In some cases, that's to me,
Just as long as I'm not
like stuff
agreeing
that's like
to-
more legislative than anything.
as long as I'm not agreeing with more homework or something.
Banyan, which two were the ones that you said had updates?
The incident response plan, the IRB, and the information security process or policy, ISP.
Okay, the incident response plan policy still has 2023 on it,
Yeah,
is that,
Oh, yeah, that's probably just a typo on my part.
so that should be 2025?
That is correct. Yep. Our friends at Tyler Technologies help us update those documents. The incident response plan, because now I'm the security officer for the airport. The airport section was added into that.
So do you have on all those, or do you know off the top of your head when the original, each individual policy was brought before the commissioners to be approved?
The signature block should have says the date that it was originally published at this version.
And that's on all of them, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Actually, on that one, the incident response thing, you did write 2025 in here, but the list that you gave me was just
Oh,
said 2023.
Okay, so it's just
But it's just on the list part
a
itself. is
file
wrong.
name didn't
Just
change.
a typo.
Okay.
Yeah. Because on, inside the policy itself, it does say 2025.
All right, I'm gonna move to approve the following policy updates as presented. The 2025 incident response plan policy, the 2025 acceptable use policy, the 2025 information security program, artificial intelligence usage, clean desk policy, cybersecurity training compliance policy, FBI CJIS security policy, hardware, software acquisitions policy, security camera policy and procedures, spam call response policy, and mandatory password policy update memo.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Banyan.
Thank you for your time.
And I certainly don't mean to be critical, I just, this
Yes,
technology is just.
I completely understand.
Morning, Josh.
Good morning, Commissioners. All right, first item that we have, first two items that we have were items that were carried over from the previous commissioners meeting. We made several changes to the compensatory time policy update. And basically what we're hoping to achieve with that is that it gives non-exempt employees the freedom to choose between overtime or comp time on a weekly pay basis.
I'm going to move to approve the proposed changes to section 14, overtime and compensatory time, subsection 2, compensatory time, A, general policy of the Hancock County personnel policy as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, next item that I have, gentlemen, is again, the wellness committee policy. I just made some minor changes after the discussion we had a few weeks ago. Basically, what I'm hoping to achieve now is once that committee is established and approved by you today, that committee can then vote a chair and a secretary and then sort of be off and running from that point.
Move to approve adding the wellness committee as presented to the Hancock County personnel policy under section XLV1 I, wellness committee.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving right along. So this next policy, the cell phone reimbursement policy, this is a brand new policy that would be put in the personnel policy. And basically the purpose of what I'm hoping to achieve here, gentlemen, is to establish policies and procedures for cell phone reimbursement due to work requirements. And the price between the two is very similar between whether we issue someone a work phone or whether we give them the $50 a month reimbursement. It's very similar there. But what this does is it basically gives us some sort of a policy and procedure in place that if someone comes to us and they tell us that they have a need for a cell phone, we have a policy in place as to how we can legislate that.
Is there a statement of contingency for that where the individual knows that even though they're using their personal phone, that if there's a freedom of information for work-related things, their phone will be taken?
Yeah, that's actually in the,
Okay,
that's actually in
just wanted to
the,
make sure.
that's actually in the last paragraph, so that's a great point. It is still subject to the FOIA requirements, so.
You trained us well. That's why I made sure it was thrown in there.
Yes.
So yes, there certainly is a ascertained risk there by using your personal phone for work requirements.
I move to approve adding the cell phone reimbursement policy as presented to the Hancock County personnel policy under section XLV II cell phone reimbursement policy.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, gentlemen, so you should see a contract in front of you for the TELUS Health Employment Assistance Plan. As we talked about during the budget times, we don't currently have anything in place right now to assist our employees, especially our first responders, if some sort of traumatic event hopefully doesn't ever happen, but if that does happen in the county, I'm not very comfortable where we're at right now with what we can provide our employees, particularly with traumatic stress related counseling, PTSD, things like that. So what this TELUS Health Agreement, it certainly wouldn't be a foolproof plan, but it would be something to start and get those employees 24/7 availability with counseling help for financial, legal, and a multitude of other things there that I can get more into detail with if you'd like, that we could at least have a starting point for our employees. And then hopefully 6 months from now, if this is getting the use out of it that I hope it will, we actually will have room in the budget to add a second employee assistance plan that I'm looking at right now for Colonial Life.
It seems like it's a fairly inexpensive
this is the least expensive one that I could find for the benefits that were offered.
I guess one of the things I'm wondering about is like, so we kind of mentioned it, whereas like the first responders, which obviously I would think under their union contract and whatever, has to be something provided there, right, under their, something union provided.
That's not so much
too.
union, but workers' comp covers much of the issues. So in other words, if they have a deputy go on PTSD issues, that becomes a workers' comp issue. Correct, Michael?
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna get immediate type of access to assistance, mental health, anything else associated, traumatic stress, anything else associated with it. That would be, again, a process where you'd probably go through your provider, their suggested provider, and, you know, it wouldn't necessarily be the same level of support based on what I understand.
Well,
So when we had our incident with Deputy Gross a couple of years ago, our dispatchers who were involved with that had to wait almost 5 or 6 days before they were able to get a critical incident crew in from the state's, dispatch organization. So I think this would be very beneficial.
what makes us believe we can get this any faster?
Well, the services that are provided here, they're provided one-on-one with a counselor through a Zoom, if you will. We're not relying on somebody to travel here to be here on site, which hopefully we can still get that support through a casualty assistance team. But again, like Bob was saying, that takes time to organize, it takes time to get those people here. So this care would be immediate. You could reach out 24/7, 365 and reach a counselor over the phone within minutes.
Who provided that back then? Specifically, who provided that?
We reached out to the main NINA chapter and one of the dispatchers that's trained in critical incident debrief counseling. We had to wait for her to get her day off shift to be able to come to us.
So
She came from, I think,
if we had another incident like that, if we had this in place, would you still go to that?
we still have that option, but I think this provides immediate health care for those that experience it immediately. And I don't want to speak to the SO, but they had the state police chaplain in that day. We had to wait. It wasn't it wasn't anything. I'll say this. It wasn't because they didn't care. It's just that was the primary. They had a lot of people involved. We just kind of didn't fall through the cracks, but our professional people weren't available immediately.
So this isn't a case of where somebody could sign up and use it. It's a case of where by incident, they would take advantage of it, correct?
Well, what this actually does, Commissioner, is it gives each of our employees up to 3 visits a year, where it doesn't rely on something traumatic meeting a certain criteria to use. They have 3 visits a year that they can use for anything from legal consultations, financial consultations, substance abuse, stress, life management. There's a whole host of different things that you can use.
Did you say legal, civil, legal, or criminal? You can't believe they don't apply criminals legal.
It just says legal consultations. I don't know what the parameters would be.
What's the deal? Get legal, criminal legal advice.
All right, I'm gonna move to approve the TELUS Health Employee Assistance Plan for 2026 as presented and authorize the chair to sign on behalf of Hancock County.
I'll second that.
Any further hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Is another update here to the overtime and the compensatory time. In just a second, I'll allow Dennis the opportunity to speak on this as well. But basically what we're hoping to achieve here is a couple things. One, remove the language that do not adjoin their regular work schedule. And that's what that's related to is working non-standard hours. And then the second change here requested would be changing the 2-hour call-in minimum to more of a tiered system. Between if you work 0 to 2, you get 2 hours. If you work over 2, you get 4. And then anything over 4 is all hours worked. Dennis, did you want to add anything on that?
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, gentlemen, this is in a way to tidy up the policies that were made when COVID began and we lost our inmate help and started having to rely on our own staff for snow removal, shoveling and such. But Michael brought up a good point, should they be considered essential? It's really only weather-related events, and this just codifies a policy the way that we've been compensating them all along, and what was an informal decision now being formalized.
So you don't foresee going with the policy, having any real effect on your budget? Did you
No,
budget for
I think
overtime?
it's the way we've been doing it, and that and attrition and other impacts on the budget over a year-long basis have been adequate to absorb, any increased costs in the past year. So I think that we
So this doesn't have to be just snow removal, right? You can be calling other
it could be
employees in for various larger projects. Like
sure, especially since we have like maybe a weekend project when we have an event at the EOC for somebody who tidy up before, after we've had a countywide conference or something there. That allows us a way to reward those employees for going above and beyond.
I just want to be clear, because that does lead into your next item. For discussion.
Yeah, because it is not, mostly weather, it's not solely weather.
I'm gonna move to approve the amended section 14 of the overtime and compensatory time. One payment for overpayment, payment for overtime hours.
Is that your motion?
Yeah,
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
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 All right, and the last item I have, gentlemen, it really, we've already segued into it, but this brings up a bigger conversation that we have on the discussion of compensation rates for non-union employees that work outside of their normal scheduled hours. And basically the question that I'm hoping to answer today so that we can develop further policy is, should all non-exempt employees be entitled to time and a half for working outside of normal scheduled hours? That's if they don't go over 40 hours.
So, gentlemen, presently, union employees get time and a half for all hours over the regular schedule. Non-union employees get time and a half only if they exceed actual hours worked over 40. That's the difference. And that really isn't a big issue with the non-union, because they're Monday through Friday, 4 people with 24/7 operations. It became very difficult to monitor that. Whatnot. But now you get back to the fairness issue, if anything. I mean, 2/3 of the county right now gets time and a half for all hours over outside the normal schedule. And the other third do not. We want to balance that and give everybody time and a half over their regular scheduled hours. And when I look at the rest of the county, they don't get much overtime. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're gonna spend thousands of dollars to compensate, and if we increase it from straight to time and a half. And I can tell you, it's a lot easier to monitor that, because you don't have to remember that there was a holiday, or they took a sick day, or they took a vacation day, because that would affect the rate. Everything over the regular scheduled time would be time and a half. It's easier for management and payroll to do that, so I'm not opposed to that. Mike, John?
Mainly just trying to think of,
Isn't that what was already stated in the previous, as part of the previous?
That only applied to airport and courthouse maintenance. That's why, that wasn't a county-wide policy.
This wouldn't give a minimum, so that we give a per hour rate. So if registry held one of their clerks over for an hour, they'd get 1 hour at some. It would be mandatory time and a half if they worked their full 40, but if they had a holiday or a vacation day, then it would be straight to them. And the question here is whether or not we want to make everything outside your work schedule time and a half, or continue to follow actual hours of work.
I don't know, I'm just trying to think of circumstances where it could come back and
So,
bite us.
Just for added context, this what really brought this conversation to light. We had the snow day, and were released at noon. We had an individual that stayed and worked till 6 o'clock that night. He was a maintenance employee. But he had also left early that Friday, so he didn't actually go over 40 hours actually worked. So that's what really brought this conversation to light, is what are they entitled to if they do work outside of their normal scheduled hours and just happen to not go over 40.
So how many hours did he have over his regular schedule? 2?
He had 42 once you added in the holiday hours, but he had only actually worked 38 for that week.
I know,
Right, but
the
we
day
close at noon and you work till 6. So
he,
6
what was
hours.
his regular work day? That
It's
is,
12 hours, Commissioner. You worked that day.
Yeah, but what's
and
it
he
regular?
should have worked 8.
Should have worked 8, but worked 12, or 11 3/4.
Yes. So, under this new policy, we have time and a half for 4 hours.
For 3.75.
That's what I'm saying, is this was covered as part of the maintenance.
Of the maintenance.
That situation would have been covered, that's right.
But if it had been a deeds clerk, it would, right.
Right. We're talking about everything else. you know,
Right.
Siege, probate, EMA.
So, somebody's gonna work the more hours. I'm assuming that has to be authorized by your supervisor, the department supervisor, right? You're not just like, kick out a couple more hours here and get time and a half. So to me, like, is overtime, or now we're not calling that, whether it's overtime. If it's over the 40 hours, are the supervisors gonna be the ones, or are they already approving whether they're staying?
It would have to be approved in my department.
Well, I mean, it's irresponsible for an employee to designate themselves overtime.
Yeah.
I mean, that should all be
Yeah,
approved.
I know,
Sure.
I just, again, it gets sketchy when it's not sketchy, but when they're not really working 40 hours, and now you're like, okay, well, you know, I just want to make sure that it doesn't get abused somehow.
Well, again, if we see a dramatic increase in overtime in these other departments, and whatnot, after approving to me, and I'll go back and look at this, because there's no reason that this should increase overtime. But for all overtime that does occur after, if we approve this, it's going to be all the time and a half over the written schedule, and I think that's fair. And I don't believe, knowing the department heads we have here, that they're going to abuse that, they don't monitor that, they would use their employees on their overtime, just like they always did, regardless what the compensation rate is. So,
Well, they still have the same budget obligations that they had before, so they still have that dollar amount they have to stay under.
yeah, but, you know, when they go over the budget, oh, geez, I had to use my guys, and you see this overtime, they should come back to haunt us on other departments. So. You okay with that? Time and a half? Yeah. I am too, John. You prepared to?
One thing I should do is, on the last motion, when I did the motion, I didn't list that it was airport and county maintenance employees when I did the motion.
Didn't you reference the policy, the proposed policy? You have that motion. You do, right?
Yeah, I said, move to approve amended section 14 overtime and compensation time, payment for overtime hours.
Yep, you said the amended. And the amended is what's been proposed to, correct?
All right,
I'm with that. I think we all understand exactly. what we do.
all right. Okay, we'll do a new motion here for the next, I'm gonna move, let's see. I'm gonna move to compensate time and a half for non-union employees working outside of normal scheduled hours.
I'll second that.
Wait a minute, no, you need to add time and a half in that, Joe.
So I did.
We compensate them for all overtime anyways, but you need to say all overtime hours over the regular scheduled hours. Somehow that's it.
Gonna move to compensate time and a half
For overtime.
for non-union employees working outside of normal scheduled hours.
I'll second that.
Technically, overtime is over, no hours. Overtime is a situation, it's not a rate of pay, so it's, I think this motion clearly indicates that it's going to be a regular scheduled hours. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yep, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back at 9:30.
We leave it on.
I kind of thought Dennis, with this real cold weather, we'd see Joe more last week
Oh,
out to the,
yes,
out to log jam.
I think actually it's commencing again tomorrow.
Well,
Yeah, and of course we've got rain Friday, so, and then I think he's got one more day, that's it.
just the desktops.
Yeah, and then we're waiting for the enclosure.
Sign
The exterior being done.
and good catch on the cell phone. I was
Turn it over to.
Yes, yeah, we've got a couple more cameras to install, but we discovered that we have a low voltage conduit from the light pole where the electric service comes from over to the log cabin. So we'll be able to run camera wire and get two great shots at the back of that. So if you sign on now, we move that camera on the back up onto the mast and it overlooks the construction site. So you can see any progress going on.
Is that live somewhere?
It is, yeah. It's on the Ubiquity site.
RCC,
Chuck can say, yeah.
is the RCC watching that live?
They have the option, whether they are or not, I don't know. Because it's on their list of locations, we have 3, courthouse, the SO, which also includes the annex now, and then the Hancock site.
Are you kind of documenting stuff as it goes along in terms of photographs and stuff?
Yeah, we do
Just so we can kind of,
get
as
a
much as
little,
anything. So
a few snapshots throughout. Yeah, I have a few. We got the letter back from the Passamaquoddies. They have no objection to it.
That's not the big one, we're waiting for the fence, all right?
No, that's the tower permit process.
What exactly is on the tower?
I think I've got a shortwave, which is like a, end of the world type, not CB rate, but yeah, CB, but also ham operators and such. We've got the regular EMA emergency circuit. And
Well, who's on that?
that is a statewide connection of all emergency event people. That's in fact one of the repeaters we have on Bull Hill is does that frequency as well. And that's all, and it's all standby, so it's the emergency alert system. And then they, I think they have Main County Fire and the other, I don't, maybe state.
So that's a critical tower. In other words, if we try to save money, we wouldn't want to take the tower out.
No. Yeah, it's to, especially emergency operations. So we may have a first construction meeting next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll send you an invite, Michael as well.
I'll be on vacation, let you guys go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, but go ahead.
oh, what a shame.
I know. Heartbreaking.
Going
See my daughter.
Calling us back into order. One.
Hello, just giving you a quick update on the situation in the jail with finances. We're doing a little bit better than I had expected because we received some state supplemental funds that I wasn't expecting of $110,000 just in the last few days. So all that does is help them to be less in the hole. Then they're still probably going to be a little bit in the hole by the end of the year. Probably more to the tune of, it's hard to tell with payrolls and stuff because they're taking comp buyouts and stuff like this, the sick time buyouts and stuff. So we never know from payroll to payroll how it's going to look. We could end up about 20,000 in the hole, I think, by the end of December.
Oh, that's manageable.
Yeah. And I think I could, if I had to, I could give them their third quarter funds, which won't have been received yet, but then when we receive the funds, we just will hold back giving them their third quarter.
Just kicking the can, wasn't it?
No, that's,
And if we spend that third quarter in the second quarter, you're kicking that.
I mean, what other alternatives
We
might there
find,
be?
we find the 20,000 somewhere, so we start January 1st there. We get a clean
Okay.
slate.
Okay, then it's up to you guys to tell me where you,
You tell us what that amount is, and we can talk about that when it's time to decide.
okay, I don't know if, will there be, there's not another meeting, is there before?
Then if we have to decide today, John, I would really like to see us take 20,000, if that's what the amount is. You tell us what it is from CBA. Pay that off for the 25 calendar year. So if they start the third quarter in January, clean slate, spending the third quarter money.
I'm thinking it may be around 20,000, I don't know exactly, but if I have that permission, then it's,
I mean, if it's not 50,000.
Right.
I think we can give you that.
okay,
Hope we can give you that. You okay with that, John?
Yep, I'm good with it.
Sam's good with that. Yep. that's what
Okay.
I like. That's what it's-
okay, and I did give you an update on the community benefits
So, yes.
report there, so. Thank you.
Thank you. Entertain a motion for an executive session.
I'm going to move to approve entering into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 560 to discuss labor negotiations.
Second that.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jane, so